Hey everybody, in this video I want to talk to you about parental alienation and cults. There is a direct parallel between the two. Now you might think of cults as religious only, but there are also non-religious cults. And in this case, the non-religious cult is called parental alienation, or brainwashing children to despise unjustifiably a parent. Now first, let's talk about a working definition. A cult is a social group defined by its unusual common interest in a particular goal. The first thing they do is isolate and control. They physically break off contact with the rest of the outside world, in this case, the other parent and the other parent's extended family tree. They emotionally brainwash them, they convince them of lies, they twist the truths, and they basically exploit and break down the children, in the case of a cult, the members of a cult, and they break them down to basically reform their brain and brainwash and retrain their brain. Let's talk about allegiance. The goal of the cult or the alienators is the concept of to be away from the group. The alienator, or in a cult, the leader's family, is dangerous. So they create a real bond and a need for bonding with the alienator. No questioning is allowed. The opinions of the children are never asked for. The leader is always right. And the alienator is basically just like a cult leader. And they'll say things like, "We are your complete family. You don't need anybody else." And of course, talking about the other people, the outsiders, in our case, the parents, you, the bad parent, complete distortions of the truth and lies. Okay, adultify means to make these children think like adults and create their own thoughts, which happens after repeated brainwashing. So these children become independent thinkers, meaning after they've been brainwashed for a period of, let's say, a year, those thoughts are now automatic. These children are like automatons. And the brainwasher, the cult leader, can sit back and relax because they've done their job. And now these children, in the case of a cult, the cult members, they're on autopilot. The brainwashing is complete. Let's talk about feelings that are repressed. One of the ways they do that is by creating mantras to the children, as in, your dad is evil, your mom is crazy, they don't love you, they've never loved you, we are the only ones for you, we are the only ones that love you, things like that. And what happens to the child after being brainwashed all these years is they become cold, unfortunately, and robotic. And they mimic to the T the brainwashers, the cult leaders, and they become little mini versions of that cult leader, of that brainwasher. And of course, during that time, they've developed a fear of the other parent, of the outside world. Advanced brainwashing. This is also a summary. Think of it as us versus them. Us is the brainwashing family. We are all protective of you. We are your only need for family. And it's them, the outside world. And the outside world is dangerous, unloving, and unkind. And of course, that's part of the labeling they do for the targeted parent. You is they'll label you phrases and words to summarize their disdain, their hatred for you. And of course, now after a period of many months and years, there's 100% dependence on the alienator. It's this created dependence, and it's a sick relationship between the two, and this is the effective way of cutting off any need for anybody else in their world. And in many cases, the brainwasher, the cult leaders, promise money or assets. I've seen that in my own case, and I've seen it in many cases around me. It's a very interesting topic. And I guess the all-encompassing summary is all you need is us. That's the whole goal of brainwashing, is to create an allegiance, a dependence on them to where you don't need anybody else. And I'm going to leave you with a quote. when I got the freedom from my dad, it changed everything. This is a quote from Ryan Thomas, who's on YouTube, and he's a former alienated child. I like this quote because it pretty much summarizes everything, which is, and this is part of the antidote for brainwashing, where they're controlling the child, your child and children. You're offering them freedom when you have them. And a quick side note, what I'm talking about all assumes that you have contact with your child. If you don't have any contact, of course, you can't do these things, which I'm talking about right now, including a relaxed environment. The 3 O's, that's another video that I'm going to be doing here shortly. Look out for that. It's called options, opinions, and ownership. Basically, you give your alienated children options instead of telling them everything that's going to go on in their life. Give them options. Ask for their opinions. This is huge. Alienators, who are almost all narcissistic parents, do not ask ever the opinion of a child. And if they do ask for opinions, because they're steering them in one way or the other. There's no true opinion asking with alienators. And the last one is ownership. And ownership is actual small pieces of ownership in decisions. As in, perfect example, you're going out to buy a cheap used car. Get them to come along and get them to get a vested interest, because their decision will help, or they will be part of the decision makers in buying this used car. Little things like that sound insignificant, but they're really big, because the alienators don't do this. Everything is basically run by like a dictatorship. So by giving them these 3 O's, you really make a big difference. And over the course of years, it's really effective in turning around your damaged relationship with them. And the last one is, if you can find a good one, is counseling. And I'm going to leave you with a few areas of be in contact with me. First of all, I'm on Facebook at Brainwashing Children, on Instagram, also Brainwashing Children, no space. And then if you'd like to download my free guide, which is the 5 steps to begin reversing reversing alienation, brainwashing, same thing. It's a really quick, easy guide, and it's yours for the asking. All you do is go to brainwashingchildren/5, input your email address, and it'll be in your inbox shortly. Thanks for watching.